When a company says that, and this is again reading it straight off their box, business and sports flagship smartwatch, specifically about the GTR 4 that I have on my hand, it makes me interested to see what does Amazfit, well, what did they do to their smartwatch improvement-wise to be able to make that claim? And of course, we're going to go ahead and test it out and see how does the GTR 4 hold up. I'm going to talk about basically battery life, functionality, new improvements, and of course the fact that it looks absolutely sexy. This is TK and this is my review of the GTR 4 from Amazfit. Let's check it out. So here is the Amazfit GTR 4. I'm actually using the default clock face or the watch face that came with this. I found it very, very interesting. I'll let it come into focus. And it has a lot of information. And of course, it's still early in the morning. It's not even 6 a.m. here on Saturday. So some of the information for at least today's tracking is not going to be there. But we're going to definitely check out some of the history that we've been able to do that. And of course, as you see, they're always on display. And it looks really nice. The transition between always on and not and regular clock face is so great because it is an AMOLED display. This is one of the biggest benefits that we have in here. It's a 1.43 AMOLED display that just treats transitions and of course colors very, very nicely. It's an HD panel, which is definitely very good. So one of the things we're going to talk about obviously is that the packaging pretty much includes the watch and the charger. It is a proprietary magnet charger, but it will charge from almost any source. And I've been charging it from my laptop because that's the easy thing to do. Of course, you can connect it to your phone charger or anything like that. It'll pull power just fine. It doesn't need a lot of power, but it does definitely be able to basically charge it. You need to bring this with you. So that's one thing to keep in mind. The box itself, pretty straightforward. We get all the information, as I said, business and sports flagship smartwatch. So that's the first thing to keep in mind. Now, it is basically a Zepp brand. This is the new rebranding, and they do use the Zepp app directly on the on the phone that you want to use. Works with both Android and iOS, and that's one of the biggest features that we have in here. On the left, we'll start looking at the fact that obviously here, as you see, 1.43-inch HD AMOLED display, and that's what we have now here. Of course, a dual band 5 satellite positioning system for GPS location. Really, really nice on the watch, not using the GPS location from the phone. Easy 24-hour health and management, and I'm talking about basically blood pressure, heart rate, as well as sleep tracking, all done on the same time from the watch. And still talking about ultra long battery life, up to 14 days. So literally 2 full weeks on a charge on a watch that looks absolutely fantastic. And we're going to talk about the new buttons that we have in here, where the GTR 4 has the additional button here on the bottom where the GTS 4 does not. But we're definitely going to keep track and see all the new things here. And again, as I mentioned to you guys, we do have the ability of downloading the Zepp app directly on the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store. And this is running Zepp OS. This is going to be the operating system running here. So the first thing we'll notice is that the design. It looks like a regular smartwatch. It actually even looks like a regular watch. If you do not turn on the always on display, the display will turn dark. But otherwise, for the most part, it is very nice. Always on display can be set between certain hours of the day so that it doesn't kill your battery. But once you click it, you can see the transition goes very, very nicely. You can press and hold and of course start switching between the different watch faces that you're able to do. This is from the ones that are preloaded on the watch. One thing I will mention is that the crown here at the top is a spin dial, which enables me to actually control certain things. And every time I move it with a supported menu, it allows actually give us a little bit of a feedback that comes straight from the watch, not from the actual spin dial, but the watch vibrates to tell us that we are moving. There are some functionalities obviously by pressing it, and we'll get there in a second. But overall, when we're looking at it here on the left, we have kind of like our home screen. You can notice right there, Amazon Alexa is built in here, and this is going to be one of the nice things. We'll notice that there's a music app. Obviously, we can control it directly with our phone. We recommend it, obviously, activities, basically exercise, sleep, or the weather to be able to check those information. I already have a weather widget here to give me the information for Santa Clarita. Now, for the PIA, obviously, since it's early in the morning, it hasn't happened yet. Alarms, you can set that, and of course, wear the watch. So this is my sleep tracking for last night, as you can see. Obviously, I'm not sleeping very well, but I did get a pretty decent amount of time for sleep. And as I set it up this morning and I had my coffee, my heart rate is a little bit higher. I've had 72 steps early in this morning, and of course, we'll talk a little bit more about information. 1 hour ago, basically, this is when I did the blood oxygen level tracking, and this was a spam call that I got not that long ago since I connected, and now we have a speaker and a microphone that enables us to get functionalities like that. Now, as far as time and situation, I am actually going to be going to a trip to Germany very soon. So here is the time difference between where it is right now, 5:50 a.m., as opposed to being 2:50 p.m. here in, well, there in Germany. So definitely nice, and all of this information sitting to the left. Now, if I swipe more, I can go through all the other complications, or basically all the other tiles in here that I've set up from step tracking, and of course I can go the same way. It loops in a manner of speaking, and you're able to add more options if you want to directly in the app or on the watch. Pressing the power button, or the main button here on the top, gives us directly access to the apps gallery. So these are all of the apps that I have installed, and you can see there's quite a bit of them. I even installed Snake as a camera. There is a camera remote, unfortunately still doesn't work. It's in beta mode right now, but I'm hoping they'll fix that with a software update. We have voice memo capabilities. We are able to select that and make voice conversation or record voice memos. You can definitely see I did a test on that not that long ago. And it transfers this directly into your phone. To-do list, work clock, and of course Find My Phone, countdown, stopwatch, breathe exercises, and of course cycle tracking if you're using a barometer, compass, sun and moon. It gives you the ability to see where the positioning of the sun and moon, where it is at the point, and how it is going to be the rest of the day. So it's really nice. Of course, we have settings and of course calendar, alarm, music control. And the music app is very nice. You have the ability of controlling music on your phone as well as on the watch. So you're able to transfer music directly into it. Really nice. Membership cards, phone, of course, sleep, activity, stress, workout status, workouts history, a lot of different things. And of course, it just goes to the PIA, which is their system of points for all the activities that you've done. Heart rate, blood oxygen, and we'll talk about this as well, and one-type measuring as well. On the bottom, if I press it once, it takes me straight into the workouts, and I can just basically scroll through all of the pre-configured ones at the top, or jump into more sections, as we have 150 different workout supports. And you can definitely see here, I'm using the crown and really nicely supported here. One thing to say though, if I press and hold right now, it's going to go ahead and launch Alexa, and that's the default configuration. You are able to reprogram both the press and hold on the top and the bottom in the app, but we'll talk to that. On the bottom, we have all of the sensors, and of course, I forgot to clean it, but we also have the 2 prongs to be able to charge it up. So magnetic clamp, and you can see right there, it connects very nicely. And the magnets are strong enough to hold the watch in its space, but unfortunately, it's not strong enough to keep it if it's moving. So for some reason, if you have to, you can definitely do so. But otherwise, we have removable straps that you're able to put in your own. They do come with this one. It's very nice, and it has the word Amazfit. I think there's like 3 different designs available from them. But otherwise, it's pretty straightforward. There's a few other casing designs, and it is very solid. Looks really nice, functions very nicely, and let's go ahead and see all of the other things we can do for the fitness tracking, and as well as the business side that, you know, Amazfit is putting into their Zepp app. When we open up the Zepp app, the first thing we'll notice is obviously our step counter, calories burned, and again, it's still very early in the morning. As you can see, it's not even 6 a.m. This is here in Los Angeles. Now, I slept last night. As you can see here, the sleep information comes in. It says I had a decent or fair sleep. I slept for about 7 hours and 18 minutes. And as you can see, I did wake up a few times at night, and that kind of threw off my number. Deep sleep for about 1 hour and 12 minutes, and of course, awake for about 36 minutes. I was having a hard time going back to sleep when I woke up. Average heart rate, and of course, breathing, and of course, just the BRPM is high, so the breathe rate, meaning I was actually breathing higher, but that's again because I was awake, considering the fact that I did wake up a few times here during the night. You can definitely look at the historical data from there. Now, we do have the Breathe with Zepp app. This is something that'll help you kind of fall asleep or feel better falling asleep. You do need to obviously turn that on if you'll be able to want to use that. But one thing to keep in mind, heart rate measurement, again, you could do the same thing. You can kind of swipe through the different information and you can see all the different times. And if you take a watch off to be able to charge it, you'll see exactly where things are. I last charged this 3 or 4 days ago, so we're still running on a good charge. Although when we get to that point, we'll talk about it a little bit more. And you can see here the heart rate measurement and all of that information. The PAI, is something that we can definitely build up to every day by accomplishing activities, workouts, and so on. And you can see here my treadmill workout yesterday. I did roughly about 35 minutes worth of running and walking combination. I did pretty decent, and it was pretty good for me because it got me back into working out. And you can see here the heart rate going up from normal all the way up to the top and then coming back down when I was done with the exercise. A lot of granular data, which is what I love about that. And of course, we have history of that. And of course, we have additional tools here that are nicely and conveniently positioned for us. So for running, walking, cycling, watch face configuration, phone for the ability to turn on the phone call functionality on here, since we have not only a speaker, but a microphone as well. And one thing to mention is because it's integrated with Alexa, so I can basically just do this. What is the weather in Berlin?
Right now in Berlin, Germany, it's 54 degrees Fahrenheit with showers. Today's forecast has rainy weather with a high of 56 degrees and a low of 48 degrees.
And what that means essentially is that we have the functionality or the full functionality of Alexa to be able to automate and make everything more convenient for us. So this is definitely a very nice improvement in integration with an assistant built in on Zepp OS and still getting 14 days worth of battery life, which is a big thing. Last but not least, we have stress, calories burned, breathing information, of course, exercise status, all the different things that you can expect to see directly in the main home screen. You can customize additional options in here, although just be aware if your device does not support it, it's going to just stay empty. So ECG and blood pressure and body temperature are not supported on the GTR 4. So therefore what I need to do here is go down here, and what I would do is just basically move it down below the line. Once I move it below the line and hit save, it no longer sits in front of my screen. And of course, if you see something here that you don't need, you can reorganize it, get it to the way you want. Now under the health tab, it's pretty straightforward. We have the ability of starting different activities, either walk, run, or cycling. Target setting, and of course you can configure them, what the steps are, how many calories you want to burn a day, and how many hours a day do you want to sleep. You want to be able to share your information with other Zepp users. This is going to be very easy, straightforward for family members. Now, obviously you can edit them as well. If there are additional ones you can add, otherwise it's pretty straightforward. When we go to the last page, this is where it gets a little bit more personal, because now we're configuring our things into the watch so it knows what it needs. You'll notice the battery level right now is about 77%. Again, about 4 days of battery life on this so far. There are different options here. You can customize the My Gold, My Route. You can actually pre-configure the route in there. My Records, Family, add accounts. This is going to be the fun part, is because we're able to share different connections to different services. So if you want to connect it to Strava, Google Fit, WeChat Exercise, Amazon Alexa, Adidas Running, or Relive, hopefully I'm saying that correctly, you can just set that up and connect it right away. I've already connected it at my Google Fit because that's the system that I like to keep everything linked up to, and you can customize all of that. User feedback, smartwatch, or smart analysis, and of course the settings of the Zepp app, not the actual watch. We need to click the watch itself to be able to get the settings for it. Now, it does say charged yesterday because, as you're going to see here real quick, I was doing a quick demo yesterday and I was doing some B-roll, and I put it on the charger to show how the watch looks like when you're charging it. Well, when you do that, it does technically show that it charged, so it throws off this information. But for the most part, 4 days of battery life so far, and we're down to 77%. And that's with two exercises running on that. So for 2 days of those last 4, I actually did a 35 to 40 minute workout, and that's obviously going to be factored in here. So it's actually pretty decent if you do every other day, kind of a light workout type of an experience. Health monitoring, pretty straightforward. You can configure all the options that you want and turn them on. I like to have everything pretty much running all the time. Notification and reminders, you can turn on the ones that you want. I turned on everything as far as app alerts. This is how you could be able to get the notifications from your watch, from your phone, straight into your watch. And we're going to talk about that a little bit, as, again, it's intended to be a smartwatch. So we're going to talk about those functionalities in a second. Watch faces, pretty straightforward. You can go in here, customize them, download, and whatever you download, you're able to load directly into the watch. Some of them are paid, some of them are free, but the collection is actually not bad. I personally really enjoying this one because it not only looks like a regular smartwatch, but it has a lot of information, which I really like. So there's the different options in here for between power, steps, and of course, heart rate. It's very nice. Now, App Store, pretty straightforward as well. There are some additional apps you're able to download. I showed you guys when we went into the apps at the bottom here, I actually have or downloaded Snake. That's one of the apps that they actually gave us in here, so I downloaded that. There's obviously Today in History, intermittent fasting, a whole bunch of different exercises that you can do. My Time, our quit smoking, obviously here, birthday record, and of course QR code viewer, rain, all the information. And there's a lot of different apps you can download. I mean, you could see, I'm not talking about a few, a lot of apps that you're downloading, and you download them straight from here. It takes it straight into the to the watch, and you're able to use it from there. You can build in a calculator. Let's go ahead and we'll give that downloading, and we'll see once it's transferring. We're going to give it a second to finish, and now it says installed. And I'm just going to go ahead and go into the directly into the app gallery, and right there, calculator was added. We didn't have it before. Accessing it very straightforward. And now I have a calculator on the go. Again, very nice and very simple. You do need to go into the watch section to get that in there. Watch settings, this is where you can customize all of the things that you don't want to necessarily go in here and customize through the built-in settings menu. It's much easier, obviously, to do it on the phone. So this is something that you could do. So from the do not disturb, sound vibration, display and brightness, this is where you can turn on the always on display. That's that little feature here that enables it to stay on for an extended amount of time. The cool thing is, because it's AMOLED, only these pixels are turned on and the battery will last much later. Some of the other options on the market, we use different displays that are technically on all the time to be able to demonstrate or draw all the black pixels. Here, they just turn them off. So very nice, and you can customize the timing. Sleep mode, off wrist, long press upper button and long press button. This is going to be the lower and upper button. As I said, you can reconfigure both, and you have quite a bit of options to be able to customize in here. From camera button, well, not Find My Phone, I want to keep it in here for the Alexa option. Heart rate, oxygen, stress, Find My Phone, barometer, camera. Once that feature starts working, right now it's in labs, hopefully we'll be able to see that. And again, on the bottom you can reconfigure that if you don't want it to be your quick exercise, or if you want to customize it to be your favorite exercise. That also helps a lot. So very nice, very easy. Offline voice control, system language, wearing detection, and of course morning updates if you'd like to have an aggregated information list. Shortcut cards, app list management, same thing. You can reconfigure the order of where the apps are positioned. Right now, let's go ahead and go back in. I kind of jumped out of it. Right now, as you notice, calculator sitting at the bottom. I can move it all the way to the top, and of course, a lot of granular configuration here. This is definitely the app that you want when you get something like this, and it's claiming to be business oriented. You definitely want to get all those options. This is again a quick aggregation of some of the main apps that we have in here. We can add membership cards. We don't have a payment system on here, but we to activate Alexa, to be able to use it as the assistant in here, especially if you want to be able to activate it through this side, you do need to go through this option in here, install the Amazon Alexa application, and link the account. So allow Zepp to be actually allowed to use the assistant from Amazon, and then it'll start working for you. You can configure your weather, your location, your world clock. If you have voice memos, if you installed or if you recorded voice memos on the watch, guess what? They get transferred directly into your phone. You're able to play them back. So really nice. And of course, more, you can just jump in and add different options from the app, directly from their app store. Last but not least, this is the lab section. As I talked to you guys, it's not working right now because it needs to be paired. Run in background, activity, heart rate, basically sharing if you want to do that, and discoverable if you want to have it discovered by another app. System update, it is running the latest version, which is 3.8.5.1, and that did install after I got it, and that's definitely the latest version. About the device, of course, we can go in here, you can see here the model number, and of course the Bluetooth device if you want to use it. Last but not least is the ability of basically doing product user guide if you have any questions. They do include a printed version, but this is the online one. Okay, so we talked about the fact of what it can do. So from a battery life overall, I've been getting consistently about 10 to 12 days, so roughly about almost the 14 days that they've claimed, and that's mostly because of the workout regimen that I've been getting back on, and that's the ability of running and doing an exercise about 35 to 40 minutes every other day. That will shorten the battery life, but it's still very long compared to some of the other options on the market. Now, the watch itself looks and feels like a regular smartwatch. It has a nice little bit of weight on it when you're wearing it, so it doesn't feel too light like some of the earlier generations that we've seen from Zepp or from Amazfit. So they definitely did a lot better by giving us bigger battery. The display is gorgeous. The tactile feel here of the buttons are very nice, and of course, all the functionalities are great. Now, we talked about the notification. That's going to be one of the biggest thing of a smartwatch. What essentially is the ability of getting notified of all the things that happen on our phone. So an example would be right here. I have a few notifications running on my phone. Let me get it to focus. I have a message here from my buddy T'Chaka, and of course my Nest app, and last but not least, some of the other options here, and basically the step counter and all the other options in here. That step counter at the top is Samsung's step counter. It's not so it's not the the one from Zepp. I do have the morning aggregation set, morning setup here, Saturday, October 1st. Happy October, everybody. So this is kind of like the morning updates that you can get in the morning. So it gives me basically that at 38 PAIs yesterday. I had got 7 hours and 18 minutes of sleep. I have 77% battery. It's 57 degrees right now in Santa Clarita where I am. And nice yesterday step goals reach, and yesterday's activity giving me kind of like a little bit of a recap, like how am I doing on from yesterday and things are. So definitely something that I recommend you turning on. But when it comes down to notifications, now we talked at the top, we get the configuration here. This is the settings. At night when I go to sleep, I just turn the sleep mode. This turns it on and disables all notifications from my watch to my phone. Connection on this between the two, by the way, has been absolutely fantastic. You can change the display brightness, go into the full settings, the battery, and of course you can jump into it. I'll give it a second. And here you can turn on the battery saver mode if you want to be able to extend it for an extended amount of time. We have another page here for Wi-Fi, and of course, this is water. In case you go swimming, you can turn it on. It emits a little bit of a sound to eject the water from the speaker. So you can go ahead and turn it on here. And what you're hearing essentially here is just it's emitting that sound just to eject the water from the speaker, so to make sure there is no issue there. And you should only do this if you go swimming or if you wash your hand and you think that there's some water left over there so that it doesn't damage the seal for the water resistance that we have. We can lock flashlight if you want to be able to use it like a flashlight, and of course, last but not least, again, Bluetooth connectivity. But let's talk about those notifications. So notifications on this watch go straight from the bottom. If I swipe up from the bottom, you can see here, that's the Instagram notification. If I click on it, this is pretty much all I can see. It's basically, I can delete it. I can't really do anything to it, which this one, in its defense, it's not something I can do too much. Information about my Nest tells me exactly what app it is. You can see here, Nest is the app, and that's the notification, typically. Santa Clarita, of course, the partially cloudy today. We're gonna have a nice cool day. And I can, of course, delete all of them. By swiping to the left, and I'll go ahead and hit delete, it does delete it directly from the phone. So this is, again, a synced functionality. And I can do the same thing here with the Nest, and it goes away. So very nice, very simple. Now, the one thing we want to talk about before we get into the actual demonstration on that is you do need to make sure to turn this option on under the watch. And if you go under the app alerts, it'll give you access to a list of your applications. I'll let it focus right now. And you can, of course, go in here, customize, and all the ones that are pre-configured to say yes, it'll automatically show up in here. And if it's not, it won't show up in here, and you can just scroll down to the bottom of the list, find it, and it'll bring it to the top. Here is also the other option. You do need to turn on app notification and, of course, fast reply management. This is where you can put in some of your quick replies directly in here. So we have one, I'm busy, talk later. Of course, in a meeting, call you later. A little bit right now, sorry, I'm a little bit busy right now. Thank you, okay. And of course, we can add just another one. I am on my way. So this is typically what I like to say. And of course, if I'm on my way, somebody's asking me, where are you? If we're about to meet, I'm on my way is definitely going to be one of the better ones. So really quick, very nice, and very quick and simple. So you notice right there, I got a text message coming in directly on my phone. I can go directly into the watch. Here it says testing the chat function. So again, I can respond via an emoji or a reply. But again, if I go into the reply, it's the pre-configured messages. It's not something that I'm able to basically select other options from it. So it's definitely an improvement over what we've had before. I can see the app, I can see who sent me the message, and this is what I responded. And of course, I can respond back again with an emoji. And there's a list of emojis that are built in here that you're able to customize and go in there and just basically, you know, like let's say we want to put the thumbs up, and I'll just say successfully send. And again, it just sends it directly on my phone. Now, one thing I will say though, unfortunately, picture messages coming in from any text messaging application, even if it shows up, you'll get the notification saying you got a picture, but you cannot see the picture. And again, the replies are limited to what you have built in to the actual system. What we have here essentially is a smartwatch, or technically a fitness tracker, that's getting very close to what a smartwatch can do. And I qualify a smartwatch by specifically calling out a watch that enables us to actually get almost the same functionality as our phone, meaning native applications downloaded directly from the same store as the phone. An example, on iPhone, you can definitely download them directly from the App Store. On Android, we have the Apple, well, not the Apple, but we have the Google Play Store on the watch. And there's a lot of compatibility, or better compatibility, for apps there. What we have here essentially, and the reason why I call this a fitness tracker that's getting very close, is a very similar set of functionalities. We now have automation access to directly through the Alexa app. So that gives us the ability of using the Assistant directly on here. No Google Assistant, but again, I think Alexa is definitely one of the biggest. If we had to kind of rank them, it would be basically the Google system as well as Amazon right under it. And I feel like it's very big and it's very popular. The fact that we have a speakerphone and a microphone, the ability to pick up phone calls, is also very nice. That's also a move towards the smartwatch functionality. And they're still continuing to have a very long battery life. I think Zepp OS has improved so much over the last couple of iterations that not only is the application on our phones very complicated, and it gives us a lot of good information, and it's a good complicated kind of a way, but it also gives us the ability of enjoying the content from the watch, from the measurements, from the heart rate measurement, to the blood pressure, to the basically exercise, stress level. All of those things that we get on the watch work very nicely, and you can have them run 24 hours. You can measure your exercises, you can measure your sleep, you can listen to music off the watch. You could use it even to go outdoors and do exercises. And the GPS locking on this, the tracking that we have, is very, very fast. As I'm showing you guys right now, I took it outside and literally all I said, track into the GPS and let me, how fast would it go from starting the activity to actually tracking and locking, and it was actually pretty decent. You can pre-configure your run if you want to be able to do that, so it's not just tracking, you can also tell it where you want to go. A lot of functionalities have been added, but I still feel like we're still almost there, but with a couple of things. If you don't really need too much functionality, meaning saying like I want to be able to do, again, similar things. I want to be able to install YouTube music on here. I want to be able to install Spotify on here. All these other things that we typically get with regular smartwatches, then this is going to definitely not meet that expectation. But with that exception, meaning leveraging all the stuff that we have on our smartphone, meaning most of those applications are there, I'm able to control my music, I'm able to transfer music. I'm also able to actually enjoy running without having my phone with me because it does its own tracking. That's the other function that we like about it. So overall, I like what the GTR 4 is offering. There's obviously the GTS 4, which is a slightly smaller version of what this is. Smaller battery and one button configuration as opposed to two. I like the GTR 4 a little bit more because of the function and of course the look. It looks like a regular smartwatch. It functions like a smartwatch and it does great at fitness tracking. And it fits amazingly well into the Amazfit ecosystem, no pun intended, or even the Zepp app. So if you want to use their smart scale, this is going to work with it great. The app itself aggregates the data from every system that it connects to. So it's really, really nice. So my recommendation would be if you're looking for a smartwatch or a fitness tracker that has smartwatch functionalities, this is going to be a perfect fit. Or if you're looking for, let's say, a Wear OS or an Apple Watch, obviously this is not going to mirror their functionalities one for one, but I feel like tracking for technical data like sports and so on, this will do better. It's getting very close with the responses. We're able to see and respond to messages with canned messages, and of course with emojis. Unfortunately, no dictation, no straight connection to be able to do things, although I feel like they're almost there. Like they're like one line of, I'm not gonna say one line of code, but like very close in that functionality. But I can imagine adding additional features will reduce the battery life, and they're trying to balance still having around roughly 2 weeks worth of battery life. There is an extended battery mode. There's so many more options obviously in here. And of course, it's definitely one of the better options on the market and one of the best options from Amazfit that we've seen for years.